Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We finally got some incredible weather here. We had a really good time. We had two seminars, two webinars on Saturday. Really well done. A lot of fun. And when I say well done, I don't mean me. I mean like the reception we got back from people. We got some great questions. We got some great interaction. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. That's what we live for, is doing this kind of stuff. The rest of it, man, we don't need to talk about that kind of boring stuff. I'm rolling up my sleeves like I'm going to do something exciting. I'm not. They're just annoying me. Like, we're not going to plant today or anything. We're not getting our hands dirty.
I was starting to wonder.
Yeah, don't get it. It would be like me, though, to wear a white shirt and do that. So yeah, last week we talked all about, what we can do to open the garden. I did my backyard finally. It was causing me anxiety. I don't suffer from anxiety, but an unkempt yard, not anybody else's, I don't care about that. I think, I hope I've made it very clear that I don't care what anybody else does in their yard. That's their yard. They want it to look good, I'll help it. They want to let it go, I get it, we're busy. There's other things that can take priority. My own yard, however, I can't hack it. And to get to my garage, I have to walk through my backyard. And it was getting to me, it really was. So Sunday morning, I went out and did it, and I left a big window pile for all the bags. There's rhubarb already coming up, the chives are green, I got perennials popping, nothing with the peony yet. Oh well, that'll make Jenny sadder than me. I don't like peonies.
No?
No.
Oh
No, I don't.
goodness.
I'm not a big fan of any plant that can't hold itself up.
Oh.
Right? You grow and you're like, look at me, I'm so pretty. Oh, I fell over. I'm like, ain't no one got time for that, in the words of the immortal meme. Anyway, we got Mother's Day coming up, so this week we're going to talk about planters and whatnot, and then last week we talked about waking up the garden. We still have trees to get into. We got fertilizer. We have so much to talk about, but I wanted to take a moment to say, don't forget houseplants. See what I did there?
Good job.
That was the most insincere. Good
You
job
win.
ever.
You win, Pictionary.
If it was me guessing that, though, I'd be like, pathway spider plant, pathway terracotta. But it is that time of year, so I don't know about anybody else, but this winter really played havoc on my houseplants. Didn't seem like it was that bad, and I have grow lights, but oh boy, some of them are not happy. One of them, guilty, so I always tell everybody what to do as though like I never make mistakes. This year I accidentally heavily overwatered one of my plants. It's coming back, it looks like I managed to save it, but it was so bad I had to move it onto a heater to try and dry the soil out. And then I was scared of like watering it again because the soil was like heavily saturated. So accidents happen, but our focus now, and I get it, we tend to be like, oh, outside, I do. But now is a great time to really just take a moment and look at our houseplants. A lot of houseplants go into dormancy over the winter, lack of light. Maybe we've had to move them to try and capture light. They're all clustered together. They're drying out quicker because of the dry air vents, and they're drying out. That's not a good thing. Like I said, I just did it because I had to. I made a rookie mistake. And when I say heavily watered, oh my God, I should have taken pictures. It was embarrassingly bad how much. I forgot about it because I'd moved all my houseplants around, and I doubled its watering up and ended up watering it 4 times in about 10 days. Yeah, it was bad. It was real, like to the point where it was like fully sagging, leaves were changing color and whatnot. But when we have a dry vent going, and our plants are drying out, the problem with that is they can be drying out before the roots have fully drank everything. So it'll be like getting a glass of water when you're really thirsty, and only being able to drink half of it because the rest was evaporating or spilling. Not a great scenario. We need that. The plants need it. But we tend to not consider that because we're like, oh, well, it must have drank what it needed. And we go on. And then if you're not utilizing grow lights, and I know a lot of people don't, I do, I just have so many of them, your plants are suffering. They're not able to photosynthesize. But it's okay because they start to go dormant. Now they're unable to go dormant like the plants outside. Our outdoor plants, perennials and trees, shrubs are what we're talking about. They go into dormancy because they lose all of their leaves, so there can be no photosynthesis. And then the ground freezes their roots solid. So they can't transpose any moisture, transpiration can't happen, they're not respiring. They are full on, state of hibernation, basically, dormancy. Our houseplants don't do that. There is still light. There might be a lot less than they used to, but there is still light. Ergo, they are going to photosynthesize. If they are doing that, they need moisture. So they're dormant, but they're not fully dormant. And that's why we recommend, at that time, it's not really the best idea to start messing around with them, especially fertilizing. Fertilizer, by the very nature of what you're feeding your plants. What have I got here? Palm and tropical. Perfect. I got palms and tropicals here. We have a cactus. We have an all-purpose. Even the stakes. Okay. You're fertilizing. The nature of that is to inspire growth. Is to give the plant what it needs to grow. The plant doesn't want to grow. It's going dormant. It doesn't have the energy for that. So we recommend you don't fertilize during the winter because what will end up happening, the plant can't bring up all of those nutritions and all of the salts and everything else in there. They can clog around the roots, which means come the spring, when it should be actively growing, its roots are all blocked because of the stuff that dried on it and it can't uptake. We've already discussed plants a number of times and roots. Roots don't like to be exposed. Plants do not like being lifted out their pot, having all the soil broken off them and put in somewhere else. If you transplant, you want to take your plant, this one should be relatively easy. Oh, it's crumbling, but that's okay. A little bit of soil came off it. I can see my root ball. I want to put that into a slightly bigger pot. I'm talking like an inch around, maybe an inch deeper with fresh soil. I am not knocking the soil off of this one. That's going to shock it. Transplanting it is going to shock it enough as it is. Look, this is dirt. Now it's soil.
My gosh.
See what I did there? Oh no, my counter is dirty. My plant is soily. I'm just going over other points, Brandy. Just, rehashing.
Now we know why you did your sleeves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did make a mess. It's a good day. What was I talking about? Roots, right. So we don't like to put a fertilizer in because the plant is now going, oh, I have to wake up. And you ever been woken up when you don't want to be woken up? It ain't great. You ever been woken up when you don't want to be woken up and somebody gives you a coffee? Really not great. It's one thing to be woken up and be like, ugh, and be able to go back to sleep. It's another to be woken up, given coffee, and then be told, you know what, don't worry about it, go back to sleep. And you're like, that ain't happening. So, same principle with your plants. So now's a great time to start fertilizing them. Look, do they need a transplant? They're going to be actively growing. Now is a great time. If you didn't do it at the end of the year, now is a great time to get them into fresh pots and fresh soil. Because you're going to fertilize, that's going to inspire new growth, and they're going to do it. But only do it if it needs it. Don't do it for the sake of it. A lot of times these houseplants, they want to be a little root bound. They don't want a huge area. And if you do transplant, only go up one size. So all that means is, we'll go here for a second. So if you have a 4-inch pot, okay, and you look and you see on that 4-inch pot that you've got roots coming out the bottom, okay? Most of the pots that you're going to buy a plant in, like this one, will have drain holes on the bottom. You start seeing, any of these guys, I didn't think to check for that. but you'll start to see roots coming out the bottom. That's normally a good sign that it does need to be transplanted. Another way to tell is if there is no give in the pot. Any pot should have a little bit of give, and that's because the soil and the roots aren't fully locked. If the roots have fully encircled that and you give it a squeeze, it ain't gonna budge. Now, I see people, again, guilty. They go, oh, well, I need to transplant it. You know what? I'll save time and money and I'll go to an 8-inch or a 12-inch. Thinking, well, it'll get there eventually. I may as well do it now. It's not like a kid where you're like, oh, I bought you a pot you can grow into. They need the correct size. So what ends up happening is the root ball has been fitting here perfectly. So we take that and we go to our 6-inch pot and we put our root ball in it. It's still tight. There's fresh soil, so all of that, I can't find brown and we're running out of time. All of this area is all fresh soil. So those roots are still nice and tight. They can push out, but they've got resistance. Now you take that same one and you drop it into a pot like that. Well, now there's way too much room. And what ends up happening is your root ball, it's in there and it starts to fall apart. We water and it loosens the soil. The roots are growing. As they grow, they move the soil a little bit, and now this starts crumbling and you've shocked the plant. The plant is like, I don't like my roots being like this. I want them to be open. And you end up shocking and doing more damage to the plant. And I get it, it is tempting. And even the hardiest plants. So I've tested it myself. And I took spider plants, I propagated them, I put them in soil, I grew them. I think I had 4 or 5. And they got big enough they needed to be transplanted. I put all of them from a 4-inch into a 6-inch except one, and I dropped it into a 1-gallon pot. It was not happy. I lifted it out because it was literally dying. And when I pulled it out, the roots basically it just came out like it was bare root. It hadn't retained any soil whatsoever, and the roots had no stability, which means it's not drinking properly, it's not holding the plant up, and it's not bringing nutrition. So if you're looking at that, always go to the correct size. You'll look most pots, wherever you go, here I can guarantee, but I don't know where else anybody is going. Maybe you've got some at home too. I believe in upcycling. If you've got a 4-inch, go to a 6-inch. 6 to 8, 8 to 10, so on and so forth. If it's really huge, you've got a massive root ball, and you're in a 12-inch pot and you can only find a 15, you're probably going to be okay on a root ball that size. But it's when they're tender and they're little that you have to be careful. And just quickly, we're about to run out of time. I just want to circle back to fertilizer. What I am always going to say is always follow the directions. Every fertilizer is going to have instructions somewhere on it. Please read them. They're not all the same. Over-fertilizing is bad. And then you want to use something fun. Liquid worm extract. So, liquefied worm poop. I know, there's no smell, it's super clean, and it is literally one of my favorite things to use. It is not a fertilizer, it enriches the soil. So you can use this with a fertilizer. And it works amazing. And move your houseplants around now. If you've had to move them, the sun's coming back. Get them back to the sunroom, get them back to those windows. They will love you for it. Fertilizer, fresh soil, bright sun. Hell, I want that.
That's a delicious recipe.
Yeah, it is. It's a delicious recipe for photosynthesis.
Yes.
So there you go. All we want to say, don't forget about the houseplants. I can be guilty of neglecting my houseplants when it's this time of year. I'm like, you'll be fine. And I run outside. They're not fine. They need some love. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how we design a planter, and then the next day I will roll my sleeves up because we're going to build a planter.
Woo!
And then we're going to give that planter away.
Hey!
Yeah, there we go. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Monday, and we'll see you all soon, okay? Bye, everyone.